using the fourth finger on the violin. A lot of you are saying, is there anything special about it? You're having trouble stretching to it. You know it's something that you really need to do, but you know you're still using those open strings that you don't really want to do all the time unless you sort of have to, or unless the music says so, or for any other reason. So you must get used to using your fourth finger because it's very good to do. So I thought I would just maybe just run through a couple of things, or just point out a few things just to perhaps help you with it, or maybe just talk you through how I began to use my fourth finger. So what I'm going to do is, I don't obviously have any stickers or anything on my violin. I'm going to put a sticker or a little dot on the violin just for today's purpose, so you can see where the fourth finger is going to go, just because it's going to help me with this tutorial, so you can see how far from the nut of the violin, or from the end of the violin, is to where the fourth finger needs to go. So I'm just going to put a sticker in there just so that you guys can see it for the purpose of today's video. So I'll do that now and I'll be right back. So as you can see, I've just put a dot on the violin where the fourth finger needs to go. Now I know what you're all going to say to me, and I have done a video on this, but you're going to say, how do you know where the fourth finger dot goes if you want to put a fourth finger dot in? Which is nothing wrong in doing, as long as you don't keep the dots in too long. But I always think the dots are a good idea to have, maybe for the first finger and the third finger, and for the fourth finger if you want to, because you can always use that for the second finger in third position. But some teachers sort of perhaps don't like to use the dots for their students, and the students are struggling with the finger placement a little bit, and the teachers sort of don't like them using it, otherwise they don't get to learn it. But my thoughts on that are, how are you supposed to learn, and how are you supposed to know and learn to know the sound of where the first finger and the third finger, for example, needs to go, if you don't know where they're going in the first place? If you're not musically minded at all, you've never done music before, you don't know one end of the violin to the other end of the violin, a high note compared to a low note, you know, something like that, then by having these dots on there can just help reaffirm the sound of the first finger and the sound of the third finger on the violin, and then you can take those dots away. So if you don't know those sounds in the first place, then it does make it very, very difficult. And I do understand where those teachers are coming from, but I do use the dots, and then after, say, grade 1, I take away the dots, and none of my students have had any problems at all, and it's never stopped them going on and being very successful and getting very, very, very high marks in their other exams. So that's that. So I did use, I used the little dots, and I have got a video, so I'll link it. It was this little sticker called Don't Fret that I've got. I'll link the video somewhere coming up now so you can look at that. But a lot of you are saying, where do you put the dots on the violin? Well, this Don't Fret sticker just slots underneath the violin. The whole thing peels off, so it's just on the backing, the white backing at the moment, so it peels off so it's completely clear, and you stick it up to the violin, stick it on, and then you know where your fingers are supposed to go. But go check out that video and that'll tell you more information on that. So this is my fourth finger dot that I've put on now. I haven't got any of the other dots on, just the fourth finger. So really you'll be used to putting finger 1, 2 and 3 on, but you'll probably not be used to putting on the fourth finger. Now obviously I don't find the fourth finger very difficult to use now, because I've spent so many years training and working hard and, you know, getting my hand in the right position. But I think some students tend to have their hand, or the palm of their hand, up against the violin. So they're playing a lot like this, which you'll know, or your teacher may have told you, or you may have seen, that you need to have the palm of your hand down. So it's almost like you're hanging onto a tree branch or something like that. So your fingers should be hanging down there. The wrist shouldn't be up. You're not going to be able to do vibrato if you've got your wrist up. Your fingers will end up going really flat against the violin, and you physically can't go into third position. So part of having your being able to use your fourth finger and get the most out of that, is to have your wrist down, and so this part here is nice and straight against the arm. So it should be sort of almost add a slight bend, obviously, because I couldn't have everything straight, otherwise that wouldn't work. And then also my thumb, for me, and this does differ slightly for everybody, so I just want to say that everybody's hand is different. But generically, if we're all kind of doing the same thing, roughly, it should help you. But everybody's hand is slightly different. Your thumb might be bigger or smaller than mine, for example, and all that kind of thing. But my thumb sort of rests on the side of the neck of the violin, and if I need to go over to the G string, it slides under, so I can reach my hand round more, and if I'm on the E string, it sort of comes up to this position here. So this would be my thumb here. So if I need to hit the G string, can you see it moving away? It sort of slides. I'm exaggerating the movement now, but it slides sort of up and under, so my hand can come over and reach all the way over the violin. So this is why if my hand is down, it makes it much easier for my finger to stretch. You'll also notice as well that the side of my hand is nearly flat to the camera. It's not sort of like this, or too far around. So I am twisting my arm when I do hold the violin, so my arm automatically does twist a little bit to try and give me that extra length for the fourth finger. So it does, if I hold my hand up straight, so the palm, so I'm looking directly at the palm of my hand, when I play the violin it tilts, so you're seeing the back of my hand now. My palm is tilting almost the wrong way, if you like, but it's the right way that it needs to be for the violin. So it's just an automatic movement for me because I've spent so many years practicing and playing the violin anyway. So if my wrist is down, my thumb is at the side. I don't want to have my thumb up too much because you can be somewhat restricted. So I like to have my thumb at the side, and it also makes a nice vibrato. But the fourth finger just needs to stretch. So you need to, if your hand is tilted, or if your hand is twisted round enough, then your finger shouldn't have too far to stretch. It's if your hand is sort of the palm of your hand is facing you too much. The palm of your hand almost needs to be facing to the left of you, so the viewers can see the back of my hand, and it's sort of facing the window that you can see in the background. If the palm of your hand is actually facing you, then of course you've got a lot further to reach for your fourth finger. So have your hand twisted around. The further round that your hand is twisted, the easier the movement will be. Now most of you will probably find that a stretch in itself, and I understand that it is a stretch, even though it's natural for me because I'm just used to being in that position now, no more than when I pick up the violin, and everything slots into place because I've been playing for so many years. So you will find that movement a little bit difficult, but as long as you understand how to get there and what you're supposed to do, you'll find you'll be able to stretch more and more as each day goes on. Just exactly like gymnasts, they just don't walk through the door day one, lesson one, and boom, they can do the splits. You almost have to train your body and stretch your limbs and stretch your body, or whatever it is that you need to do before you can then do the splits a couple of months later. So you're kind of limbering up and increasing your ability to go further and further. So that's kind of what you're doing on a small scale on the violin, making your hand sort of get to that fourth finger there. So if you want to have a dot there, if you're not having trouble with any of the other fingers, that's great. But if you want to have a dot for the fourth finger, just so that you know how far it's got to stretch. If the eye can realise how far it's got to stretch, and the hand knows how far it's got to stretch, then you can take the dot away. But never ever be afraid to use the fourth finger, and the sooner you can get into using the fourth finger, the better it will be for you. So I hope that helps a little bit with the fourth finger. This was a requested video, so I hope that helped. I'm sorry I can't remember who it was that requested it, but I hope you're watching, and I hope it does help you, and I hope it helps everybody else as well, and maybe shed some light on that. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Thank you.